I wish the theory about Jack being a figment of Rose's imagination in Titanic was true, because, if you've not heard it, the story basically goes that Jack never existed. There's a whole bit where it's like, his name was never on the passenger manifest, and it's because she just completely invented him, because she goes to throw herself off the boat, but she's like, oh no, I can't, because this figment of her imagination, who is the exact opposite of everything she hates about her husband, he's free-spirited, he's kind, he's not like consumed by greed or anything like that. He's the exact opposite of her husband. She convinces her not to do it, and they go around on this lovely adventure. They do all this fun stuff together, and it's purely she has made him up in her mind in order to get through like the trip. And then when the boat starts sinking, he knows what to do, and he keeps her alive and all this. And it's basically her finding it within herself to create this figment of her imagination to make everything better and eventually to save her life. But the theory goes that it's just that. She is completely making him up. And I wish that was true, because it changes the entire nature of Titanic from being this like soppy, soapy love story that everybody cries in at the end to just this really absurd comedy movie about a woman who has a wank in a car. And I just think that's a better film.
This is kind of, I could have gone with so many different options here. There are all sorts of different film theories of varying, quality that, you can potentially manifest either for the purposes of banter or your own personal enjoyment, whatever. And this one more so falls into both categories, because The Shining is one of the best films ever made, one of the finest horror films, one of the best films just ever done. And there is, after a few years after I first watched it, I learned that there was a big culture around that film that people think that it just has the meaning, it has the answer to everything. Like, just literally everything about The Shining is a movie about everything. And one of the big things that people believe about that film is that it's Stanley Kubrick's confession for faking the moon landing. Now, obviously, we did go to the moon, and if you don't believe that, well, I mean, I have to doubt the integrity of our education system. But in terms of the idea of NASA watching 2001: A Space Odyssey, recruiting Stanley Kubrick from that film to make a fake moon landing, then him being so racked with grief that he then makes the best film ever made, to then just go back and say, ah yes, I did it. It was me. I did it. It was me, Austin. That's a wrestling reference. I don't watch wrestling, but even so, I find it really interesting, because the idea of Stanley Kubrick faking the moon landing and then making a confession film about faking the moon landing is a great film in itself. Why haven't we seen that film? The idea of NASA recruiting a man to fake a space thing, and then he's there, oh, I can't. The only way I'm going to be able to do this is if I make a really obscure reference in a film, like Danny Torrance wearing his Apollo 11 jumper and other such clues that are ostensibly hidden throughout the film. I find it really funny. Honestly, I think if that theory turned out to be real, I think we'd lean into this post-2016 banter zeitgeist even more. And the idea of that actually being real is hilarious.
I seem to be the only one here in What Culture, like at whatculture.com, in these towers that enjoy James Bond to an extent. And I also have a real knack for, I like canon in films, or any sort of media. I like going back and knowing everything I've sort of absorbed and paid attention to and consumed is worth it. But when people kind of try and reset it, it really annoys me. Or it just makes me feel like I've wasted that time. So personally, I like to feel like Casino Royale and all the Daniel Craig films follow up from all the past 20 films, even though I know it's not real. So if they're going to do that, I wish that in Die Another Day, the film theory that he actually dies in that film was real. Like, it could be, but I don't think it is. I don't think they would actually have had the foresight to make it so like in depth. So Bond fails a mission in, I think it's North Korea? Is it, or South Korea? I don't remember, it's really bad. But then he sort of like, he loses and gets captured. And we go through the credit sequence with Madonna's Die Another Day song, which is a banger. And you kind of see him break down and what most people think die. And it's straight out that we go, and he gets passed from border to border, and it's all really smoky and misty. It's almost like he's passing into, like, say, another life. And he gets taken by MI6. He kind of makes it back. Colin Salmon caresses him, and then as he gets taken back to the UK, a lot of people think that on that table that he dies, and everything after that is him dying, but with and we see the film through his dream, because it all goes bonkers from there. We have invisible cars, we have ice palaces, with the jetpacks back for some reason, and Colin Salmon's not even really in it.
Important.
Yeah, I mean, he had some good parts in Tomorrow Never Dies More, it's not enough, but anyway. So yeah, just go through, and it's just like, well, let's stick diamonds in Zal's face, because that would make a good toy or a good poster. But I think that if you're gonna switch bonds and try and do a hard reset, you should have just killed him. Because, I mean, if it's just a code name, then what's the point of even caring about anything?
Well, I have to confess here, I have kind of stolen this from a popular YouTube channel. That being That Film Theory. Go and check it out, subscribe to it, do all that sort of thing. And that is a fairly obvious one, but one I still really enjoy, and that is the fact that Childs is the thing at the end of The Thing. And as yourself and Jules, who both work on That Film Theory, have pointed out to me on numerous occasions, with this film, there's a lot of clues in there. Childs is wearing a nice new coat at the end of the film. Where did he get that from? His breath isn't seen when he's outside freezing to death, basically. And of course, the whole thing with MacReady giving him that drink, which a lot of people have speculated is just gasoline, a Molotov cocktail that he didn't basically use. And then MacReady just goes, oh, bollocks, you're still alive, aren't you? And there's the lovely touch, which is pointed out in That Film Theory's video about this, that you don't see that shine in Charles's eyes, which I know is something that is a little clue that's placed throughout the film, pointing to the fact that Charles is the thing. There's always speculation, of course, that MacReady could well be the thing, because he's just saying, let's just wait till we all die, and then when they thaw us out and check us how we are, I'll just take another body. But I don't really like that theory anywhere near as much. It has to be Childs is the thing at the end of The Thing.
Well, as I've said, a lot of the other theories that you guys will hear now, and that generally we hear in the office, they're very, very clever theories, because I work with a lot of clever people, although I'd never tell them. My theory, however, is significantly less clever, because it's just that Willy Wonka, in the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory film, is a cannibal. Which, I know, maybe slightly weird at first, but crucially, the first film misses one scene that both the book and the newer adaptation include purposefully. It's a very important scene, because it's the scene where the kids who were punished appear alive, because, it's crucial to see, they've learnt their lessons, and, they've been punished for their flaws, and there's some progress has been made. Whereas in the original, you don't see that, which suggests very much that they did not leave the factory. They are still in the factory, possibly in the bellies of Oompa Loompas. Because also it's never really addressed how exactly Willy Wonka managed to transfer these, strange alien creatures. We don't really know what they do, we don't really know what they eat. I'm not telling you that it's kids, but just putting it out there, it might be kids. Doesn't look like it's candy, or he wouldn't have hired them for a candy factory. A lot of crucial things, all of the scenes where there are seats, the seats are made for the exact number of people who are there, suggesting that Willy Wonka was like, I'll kill 3 kids before the boat ride, I'll kill 3 kids before the boat ride, and then, maybe make them into candy. Oh, also the fact that he hates all humans a lot in the first film has some strong implications. All I'm saying is that childhood trauma does suggest to me that this theory is very much real, and that more people should believe it, and that maybe we should make a gritty reboot where it is real.
Well, a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, there was a character, a very underappreciated character in my eyes. I had a bit of a fondness for one Jar Binks when I was a kid. I know it's not going to be something that everyone's going to want to hear at home, but I thought, when I watched episode 1, I thought this character is going to play such a pivotal role going forward. I mean, he's been one of the flagship characters in this first film, because I'd watched the original trilogy, but I wasn't exactly kind of washed in it, and I didn't kind of live by it. It wasn't a religious thing for me back then. I kind of saw episode 1, and that was my Bible, so I was a bit like, oh wow, okay, he's gonna have so much to do. And then episode 2 and 3 happened, and he didn't really, to the naked eye, have much to do. He did actually cast the kind of the most important vote in having the Senate the power of the Senate passed over to the Chancellor, obviously. And in the actual film, it was played out that was something that was kind of naive, unintentional to a certain extent. But I don't think so. And many people all over the world have all theorized this, and I believe that it would have made this film it would have made the character just a little bit more meaningful and not a laughing stock. He deserved more, Mr. Binks, okay? And if he did knowingly cast this vote, and he was apparently a Sith, as many people have theorized, then it just creates such an interesting, that entire first film then suddenly becomes a spy mission, an undercover mission, and this I mean, let's be honest, the guy can jump to obscenely high heights. Have you seen his eyes? He's got some serious Sith eyes going right there. He's got some Darth Maul, Anakin Skywalker in episode 3 eyes going on. I've seen him, I've spotted him.
Okay, and it's just, there were so many things that were kind of hinting towards, wow, this could be such a complex character study of this person kind of like playing off the entire Jedi, like going undercover and just playing off everybody. But no, he just became a bit of a goofball and pretty much got written out and doesn't really get mentioned ever again going forward there and after. So it just would have made, I know a lot of people are just going to go, oh no, Jar Binks, we just hate Jar Binks, but I can't say that I enjoyed the rest of his art because I didn't really, but it would have made a character that's so kind of despised today just a little bit more meaningful and just give him a bit more purpose. So that's why that's the theory that I wish was true, because I just want some more respect for Mr. Binks, okay?
So the film theory that I wish was true desperately in my heart, and also know to be true, is that the boy in Home Alone, Kevin McAllister, is actually Jigsaw. And the Home Alone movies are a prequel to the Saw films because he grows up to be a sadistic murderer, which I just think is fabulous. And James Wan has responded to the theory and been like, oh, I love it. Like, he loves nonsense stuff like that. So he was like, this is fabulous. Of course it's true. Whereas it wasn't intended that way, but I wish it was. I wish that was where it was born from, because there's all these it's been theorized for a little while. A guy called Jason Concepcion from Grantland came up with it and posted it and basically said that Kevin McAllister is a horrible little boy. He's a piece of crap, basically. He moves from the line of protecting his house and doing all these tricksy fun things to absolutely just being malicious and sadistic. So you can see kind of the parallels between Jigsaw's character and Kevin McAllister's character in that. That Kevin McAllister is like a pale, small, blonde boy, and when you see Jigsaw and John Kramer, he's kind of got the same sort of appearance, and there's a picture of all three of them together, which hopefully is on screen now, which you can see them kind of moving up in life and looking the same, which is good. But Kevin McAllister is preoccupied with fire, he loves fire, and that comes into Jigsaw's traps as well. So the furnace in particular that he is terrified by and goes into the basement is like, oh my god, the furnace, gets then transposed into Jigsaw's traps, like the bear trap that he puts on Amanda, which is going to rip her head open. You can see kind of like the visual similarities. And of course, in Saw 2, when there is a literal furnace that he makes someone go and crawl into to get the antidote out of, you can see the parallels there. And then the same things that Kevin McAllister does appears in the other Saw films, like breaking glass on the floor that they then have to walk through, appears in the Saw films when he's in that room with the candle and covered in flaming jelly. Again, more fire. Like and as well with the flame on the back of the guy's head in Home Alone. He loves fire in Saw. It's just, it comes all the way through. It's a lovely theory. It's funny to think about, obviously, Kevin McAllister growing into Jigsaw, but it actually makes so much sense. It's kind of scary. And Jason Concepcion finishes on this one little line where there's a clown in the basement that Kevin McAllister is terrified of, and then he's like, oh my god, maybe it's the puppet from later in the film. So yeah, I back it completely. It's true. It's true. I wish it was true, and it is true. So there we go.